Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Thorn Alliance. I'm James.
And I'm Luke, and we are the YouTube channel that offers non-biased opinions from that of two different perspectives. We've got that of someone on the autism spectrum and that who is not. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And what are we doing in today's video, Jacob?
Very pumped for today's video. We are reviewing probably the best show on Amazon Prime, The Boys Season 3.
Yes, we're very pumped about this. So make sure you stick around and find out what score we give these and what we think about this show. Okay, do you want to summarise what Season 3 of The Boys is about, Jacob?
Basically, Season 3 of The Boys from the ending of Season 2 is about Homelander trying to work out what he wants to do, take over the company, or, what his allegiances are, the company, trying to keep him under wraps, and The Boys as the organization, where do they want to go, and Butcher finally having the powers to try and stop Homelander at his peak, and finally having Compound V taking it and finally standing up to Goliath. Really, that's the best thing about the show, is this is David versus Goliath, and you would think the superheroes have the best our best interest in heart, but the boys switch it and they really don't. They're greedy. The company just cares about money, and that's the best thing about the show.
Yeah, so again with this season we find out a little bit more about the Vought company and what sort of evil things are up to. We were really led to believe that this season was going to be about taking down of a Homelander, which the season does follow along that, but he is a main character and probably they don't want to kill him off too soon. But we do get introduced to some new characters, that most famously of Soldier Boy, who's played by an actor famous from being in Supernatural. And yeah, it's a really good season. Unlike other shows, I don't think The Boys has really tapered off. I think each season has been strong, if not stronger, as the seasons go on.
Very consistent.
Yeah, and that's why we want to give us your rating and as to why you gave it.
Okay, for the verdict, I gave it a well-deserved 92%. The writing is amazing. The acting, like I said, David versus Goliath storyline. Compared to the Marvel shows, The Boys, I think, does it better because it's ordinary people going against superheroes, and you would think superheroes would be the good guys, but in this show, the normal people are just trying their best to go against the company, and I just really like what is the moral right thing to do? Is it be like the people that you're trying to stop, or finding other means to stop him? And the show does it really well. Very consistent seasons, and the only problem that I have with the show is the main storyline with the Russian thing. I'll get more into spoilers, I think, lets it down, but besides that, I think it's a highly entertaining show. I hope they don't milk this show. That's my biggest fear with it. I see 2 more seasons at most, and hopefully they don't milk it. And I would highly recommend anyone to watch this. And if you got an Amazon account, you need to do yourself a favor and watch it.
So I've given it 94%. The Boys
as well.
Yeah, The Boys is a really great show. This season is probably the most diabolical of the lot and has the most kind of insane things go on with it. We're really looking forward to seeing Homelander getting taken down, which didn't happen, but that didn't mean the season didn't have lots of big major things go on within it. The main characters stand out once again. You've got Billy the Butcher and Huey as, the crowd favourites. Starlight, making such a big impact. And again, this series finds a way to bring more realism to the superhero franchises that are out there. I think Marvel are entertaining, but they never really show what the impact is on civilians. And this show really does that in a comedical and serious way at the same time. And it is absurd and obnoxious, this show, and may not be for everyone, but if you can appreciate it for what it is, it's almost a masterpiece. It does build off what Marvel and DC have done, by taking their heroes and rebranding them by different names. So it has got that platform to build off. But if you already like the superhero franchise, you're going to like this even more. And if you're not big into superheroes, I think you can love this as well, because it almost makes fun of superheroes too. Even if you're against them, you're going to like this show as well. So it's really appealing for most people, unless you're not into a bit of crudeness and some full-on comedy and full-on gore. Basically, there's lots of gore in this show and a few sex and rude scenes in it. But beyond that, it's just such a great show.
Definitely.
Let's moving into some spoilers. What do you think? What have you got any questions for me or any itching topics you want to bring up from this series?
Did you like Soldier Boy as the villain, and did you find it interesting or his remarks of Homelander in the end?
I liked the additive of Soldier Boy, making out, he was the unknowingly the father of Homelander. He basically, everyone thought he was America's hero, but really he was a bit of a fraud. Yes, he did have powers, but he was more using them for his own benefit. He was, into drugs and drinking and, getting up to no good. I liked that they went that direction with him, and I really thought he was going to be the one that would take out Homelander, but he would still create problems for the boys. But in the end, that's not the road they went. But yeah, I think bringing him to the series was really good. What did you think about Soldier Boy?
I really liked the character. I just got confused about his powers, how sometimes he was able to kill people and sometimes take his powers. It felt like the writers changed the scenario when it suited the storyline.
Yeah, I was unsure as well about that, if his powers, if that's something he could always do with the kind of creating this energy from his chest, or was that something that came from the experiments that the Russians did on him? So that was a bit unexplained. What was your favourite part of the series this season?
Probably Butcher's and Huey's grey area at the start, and then eventually Huey comes to realise that when he saw his boss popping heads and then realising Butcher's right.
Do you like how they were able to have powers in this season, but with that came consequences?
Yeah, that was cool. Did you like that?
Yeah, it's cool to see them have powers, because ultimately it'd be cool if they had permanent powers, but that's not what they're about. They actually don't like the idea of being heroes, so giving them the option of having powers and being able to fight back but not being stuck with them forever was good. But now, Butcher has to face the consequences of what the damage he's done to his body by taking this untrialed, unexperimented Temp V.
Yeah, I feel like they'll do two things with his character. Either with the 18 months, either he'll make a sacrifice and he'll die, or something will happen and he'll live somehow.
Yeah. What did you think about Huey's power? It was a bit of an interesting.
Was fun.
Yeah, so he could teleport, but he'd always lose his clothes whenever he did so.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was it helped in a couple of scenarios, but it wasn't that useful of a power. But it was quite cool. You have a favourite scene from this season?
I think it has to be when they were in the sexual expo, and then Homelander, Huey, Butch, and Soldier Boy were smashing Homelander.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene, and the whole idea of Herogasm was, quite interesting. So that was a standout scene for me as well.
Same with you?
Yeah, did you like the story arc they went with Blue Hawk and A-Train?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how A-Train, you kind of didn't know where he was going to go, and then he was starting to realise that he's actually affected people, and then Blue Hawk was kind of what he used to be, and then he's kind of realised from this person that yeah, having responsibility, you need accountability.
Yeah, and they went down the whole Black Lives Matter story arc, but it wasn't overkill, which I
No.
liked. It was good. Eventually, him taking Blue Hawk's heart to help him live is kind of an interesting scenario. So the person that he killed and was the enemy of, he now has them to thank for him being alive. I thought that was one of the most shocking scenes of the season when he killed Blue Hawk. I thought that was really I didn't even think of that as a way that he could kill someone by literally running really fast and dragging them along the road.
Surely Vought as a company will have a chip or something that they can detonate or something with his brain heart.
Yeah, there'd be some kind of consequence they'd put on there. Favorite scene. What do you think was the worst part of the season? There's not much because it was all pretty good. But there's anything you really didn't like?
Like I said in the verdict, probably the Russian villain or female that had something to do with Frenchie. That was the only part I didn't like. At first, it was the Frenchie and Monaco storyline, but now I thought about it and I agree about it with you. It was kind of, she thought she didn't need her powers and that realization that, yeah.
I think the Kimiko and Frenchie story arc was actually quite good, and when you talked about it and I explained why, I like the idea that they're clearly a couple now, but she's somewhat damaged goods. She's was kind of used as a weapon and kind of a slave, and she hated the fact that she had powers because that caused her to be in that line of work and treat how she was growing up. But then later realizing that what she really wanted was not have her powers, but she just wanted to be loved. And now that she has someone to love, she doesn't want to lose her powers. She actually loses them and gets them back because she realizes that she needs powers if she wants to protect the ones she loves. And I think that's a really cool story arc. What do you think about the Huey and Starlight? They spent a lot of this season going back and forth between, are they in love, they hate each other?
I don't know. What do you think's going to happen with them?
Oh, I think they will end up together. I think it's a cool story there. But this whole idea of Huey kind of resenting when she saves him and he wants to save her sometimes, I think that's fine. But she seems to not want him to do anything. She wants him to sit there and be wrapped in bubble wrap and make sure he's protected. And that kind of annoys me. I think she needs to realize that that's not, no one wants to feel like that. They don't want to feel helpless. Yes, she has powers, but he can do things too.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Where do you think the story's going to go with Homelander in the next season?
I think he's either going to become a hero and look after his son and try to destroy the people that have created him, or he's just the villain.
That's my thought all along. I think Homelander will eventually realize that he is good. He just wants acceptance and love. He grew up, as a test tube baby that kind of didn't have a real family and was trained to be a weapon. So I think he will resent the people that did that to him and just want to feel loved. And I think his son Ryan will be the one that creates that.
What was the most shocking moment for you? I know what it was for me.
Most shocking. I felt I was shocked with when A-Train killed Blue Hawk. Not because I didn't expect it. It was just that was kind of a really full-on scene. Yeah, probably that. What's your most shocking moment?
Probably when Black Noir died because I thought he was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a character for me that offered not much. He didn't say anything. He didn't do much. I didn't quite understand his powers. Supposedly he's got strength and stealth ability. So he wasn't a great character for me. It was an interesting path they went with him, and I guess how they kind of explained his backstory with the use of the cartoon characters was something that might be divisive, whether people think that that's cool or not. I thought it was cool.
So I know in your thoughts you don't think that a lot happened this season, but if too much happened and Homelander dies, we don't get a season 4. So the writers have a lot to juggle with. Do you do too much and not have more seasons, or it's a juggling act?
Yeah, I don't think nothing happened. I just mean that the main story of the boys versus Homelander, not much change from that. Homelander basically now has access to his son, and they still want him dead. That there was no progress made regarding that. Homelander has changed where he sits in the company, and a few people have died and things have happened. But in terms of them getting closer to killing Homelander, they're actually at the same point. They thought they might be able to find a weapon in Soldier Boy, and then ultimately their weapon is now gone. So they have no leverage or no nothing in order to really take him down. So the boys in taking out Homelander is in the same spot. That's what I mean. But there was lots of things that happened this season.
And what do you see the storyline happening with the vice president? Where do you see that going?
I don't know. I don't understand where her powers end. Whether she can pop anyone's head, whether she could pop Homelander's head. I think the next season they'll be taking her down. But I don't really know what her agenda is. Like, we know she's bad, but what does she want to do with that?
I don't know.
So where it's kind of unclear. So I think the next season might have a bit of a focus on that.
And what was your thoughts with how Queen Mara got out? Would you preferred if she died, or did you like that she lost her powers and she got out of the clutches of the evil corporation?
I like that better. I think dying and sacrificing is nice, but her sacrifice was her powers, and that's what she wanted. She just wanted to live a normal life, and now she can. So yeah, I'm glad they went with that choice. I don't think people need to die for the sake of it.
It's interesting the different parallels between Queen Mara and Komiko. That Komiko, they both had powers, but one wants it and the other one doesn't.
Well, I think with Maeve, I don't know if it's necessarily she doesn't want power. She just wants to be out of the spotlight. She wants to get away from Homelander, and she wants to be with her partner. So she probably could have done that with powers, but while she has powers or is thought to be alive, I think she's always going to be a slave to Vought, and Homelander was always going to come after her because he basically said he wants to use her to have a child. So, that's I guess she needed to fake her own death, and losing her powers along the way was, like a byproduct of that.
What do you see happening with the Homelander supporters? Like, they clearly saw him kill someone and they're like, yeah.
Oh, I think there'll be something to do with rioting, and there'll be, supporters that will, there'll be more conflict between supporters of him and supporters of, whether it be Starlight or whoever he's opposing. So, they are quite radical in their views.
Do you think they made it Mother's Milk, child's stepfather, so there would be that conflict between that family? So instead, if it was someone else that we didn't care about, we would be like, oh, well, should we care?
Well, yeah, I think they needed a character that needed to be very favourable of what Homelander does, and if you just introduce a new character just for that, it's a bit odd. So they try to use a character that already exists and isn't important to the storyline, really. So yeah, I think that was probably the smart choice.
But isn't that bad parenting to bring your child to... Now he knows that Homelander has killed someone, but he still loves them? I don't understand that.
Oh, he obviously just thinks Homelander can do no wrong, and he agrees with what he does, so... Yeah, I guess that's just, way people perceive things.
So final thoughts about Season 3 and then predictions for Season 4. I think it's amazing. This is the most standout Seasons 1, 2, and 3. No bad seasons. I think they need to... 2 more seasons at most.
Yeah, I agree. At the moment, I only see 2, but it depends where the next season goes. Maybe we might see a reason for multiple seasons, more seasons. All 3 seasons are standouts, very high scoring. In terms of the best season, I don't know, maybe the first because it introduced us to the world, but none have declined, and they've just added more layers to the story and have lived up to the hype with each season. And your prediction for the next season?
Season 4, I guess the main mission is to take out the vice president, so I would assume they'll be doing that. They'll probably introduce someone else to take over Black Noir's spot in the 7, and Starlight's friend that he got killed as well. And either Homelander will become good or were bad, and we'll see with the Deep and A-Train. It will be interesting to see where those two lineage alliances go.
Yeah, I think the next season will focus on taking down future Vice President Newman. They will take her down. I think Homelander will be in it, but I think it's going to surround him trying to parent his son. Like, I don't think there'll be conflict between Homelander and the rest of the gang. He'll be off being a father. And I think maybe that might turn him to be good. I think the Deep and A-Train will align themselves with the boys. I think the Deep probably feels bad for what he had to do and drowning that gentleman. And I think A-Train has already kind of swapped his allegiance as of this season. So that's my thought. And then we might then get another season where I think Homelander will, take down Vought and probably go on to try and live a normal life.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching. We are the Obi-Thorn Alliance from two different perspectives. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.